Hey, happy Sunday, and it is that time of the week and time to talk about the things that matter and what I've been working on and what I've been looking at this week. And it's been a week of wandering for myself, and I kind of love this the wandering, uh, multi-dimensional selves of me. And I wanted to talk this Sunday about all who wander are not lost. And as it has been, and surprisingly for me, I have wandered quite a bit through a country of not my home and not spent very much time in, and I've not had the feeling of being lost, frustrated, stuck, hungry, cold, got a bit of a cold now, but not lost. And because there was no really aimed arrow. I knew I had things to do, but they would get done, and it was moving just through it, just seeing what was going to happen, which was a challenge for me because I'm not that kind of girl. I want to plan, I want to know what time, I want to have it organized. I don't like running out of time or money, and I've had both happen. So it was a challenge for me to just kind of let go and trust, the T word that it's not always been easy. And one of the things I found important in this experience has been just reminding who I am. And in Western astrology, I'm a Sagittarian, and we kind of aim often and miss often. I have said to friends, I said, one of the things I've learned about myself, I make a lot of mistakes. But I need to. I kind of have to fall forward and try different things and new things. And my name, Phyllis, means the newest part of the branch, the new growth. So it's always doing something new. And that's been who I've been. But I also have a Cancer moon, so that need for home is also always kind of pulling at me. My Chinese sign as a pig loves a good time, but my ascending in the Chinese is the horse, which also needs to travel and go forward. So it's been an interesting just watching my own polarities within myself. What's going on with me? Why can't I just stay in one place? Why can't I just marry and be content? And I'm like, because it's boring, that's why. I gotta go do something else. So for me, it's been challenge myself into what haven't I done? What am I here to learn? What is this purpose of being? So I wanted to talk about that a little more today and encourage you to find that meaning in your journey. So I've had some lemonades making in my days, and lemons have definitely been part of the existence. And being an African American woman, I was raised with because you have to work twice as hard to be given half the chance. And with that kind of mentality, it is all right, this is not going to be easy. It's going to be work, and it has helped me. It has encouraged me to stick to something, and just because there's a resistance doesn't mean it's a no. It means it's just resistance, and you gotta work through it. And like fear I learned is just that little space that you gotta have to go through. And I tell a story of when I learned to abseil, or rappelling, as they say in America. And what I did was, I'd be on the cliff, get up to the top, get to the edge. And so I'm at the edge here, and I'm like, I'm shaking, my knees are going crazy. And I realize I'm bending down, and I'm bending. But when I get to a 45-degree angle, all of a sudden, the fear is gone. And that horrid intensity in my gut region has stopped, and fear is no longer there. And I can down the mountain, go up and do it again. I get to that edge, and I can start playing with the fear. And it's in that space right there. But as soon as I pass that space, fear is gone. And so I learned that at 19, that fear was this space that I had to go through. And when I got on the other side of fear, wow, what a great experience. So for me, going through, it has always been, okay, resistance, fear, all right, it's coming. But like getting on stage, your knees should shake. And when my knees stopped shaking, I knew I'd become boring, and I knew it wasn't interesting to me anymore, and I needed to do something else because there was no excitement, there was no energy that was around. I was rote, and I felt like a government employee just saying the same thing over and over again. And I went, I gotta change. And I, spoke to high schools and college students and talked for years about the books I was writing about and careers. So it was like I made myself get out there, I made myself get in front of people just to push myself to be stronger at being myself and speaking my truth. So pushing through the fear is part of this and part of the lessons that we need to take with us. And in that, I learned to appreciate my ego. And ego gets a hard rap these days. We're called narcissists and selfish. And I go, yeah, but ego's not a bad thing. Ego needs to be tamed and it needs to be controlled. And it's not all about me, which I have had to get my hand slapped a few times about that. But it is about what's it going to take to express me and to be my truest self and not be afraid of my own voice. And that's been why finally, I'm 58 going on 59, I'm finally making videos. I've been watching videos since YouTube has been around and I'm like, wow, they're saying the same things I'm feeling and thinking. How come I'm not doing that? And it's taken years for me to get out of my own way. That self-sabotaging thoughts and beliefs that keep you from speaking what you know to be true and sharing and encouraging that, yeah, we can do this. So embrace your ego, hold on to it. You'll need it to get out of bed. You'll need it to get on stage and to say what you need to say. Thirdly, there's that feeling that I'm never going to do enough and that I will die in obscurity, never making a difference. And, I'm reminded of a story an old story about a little boy walking along the beach with his grandparent and picking up starfish and throwing them back into the ocean. And there were hundreds of them, obviously, and the grandfather was saying, you can't save all of them. But the little boy, in his wisdom, but I can save the ones I can. And by every effort, don't you think it matters to that starfish who does get another shot at life? It matters to me when I get another shot at life. So I'm not, I had the big, hairy, audacious goal to save the world. Okay, and then I cut it down to save 1 billion. And then I went, save who I'm meant to save, and myself primarily, and take care of me. We forget about service to self, service to others. It's a balance of the two. And so focusing on what can I do to really just focus on, if I only had a day left, what would I give? And that has been okay, I would do this. I'd talk to you. I'd tell you what I've learned. I'd tell you from my heart. I'd give you all that I can, all the mistakes I've made, all the things I've learned, and just share them and hope they help you. So this is the easiest way I know to do that with the millions of me's that are out there. But give you what I know. And so whether obscurity or getting lost in the YouTube malaise of the millions of videos that get uploaded, it doesn't matter. It matters that you heard it. It matters you're the starfish that I get to share with. And so grateful when I could hear your stories and listen to what you've shared, because you do the same for me. then there's the security issue. Are you making any money? Heck no. No, it's not about the money. And I realized when I left my partner, who loved me dearly and who still loves me, and it was the day that it was a choice between freedom or security. And security didn't feel so good. Wasn't comfortable. That security was a blanket that was itchy and it scratched and it didn't have the warm fuzzies I wanted it to have. And freedom meant unknown. It meant pulling off your jacket and just running for it. That's the horse in me that wants to be free. But the security also sits back. And I was the part-time wife, enjoying doing little as possible and eating and traveling and being semi-retired and doing a little this, a little that, you know, ladies who lunch and dabble. But it didn't force me to dig deeper. And freedom is a requirement. It requires you to take responsibility of your life and do something with it instead of just riding on the coattails of someone else. So I chose to go out into the unknown on my own and take freedom. And I think that's part of the package, is that we have to choose. And maybe it may not be your package. It was mine, but it was part of that understanding that sometimes it is an A or B, and you can't have it all at the same time. You have to choose at different times. So I did so, and here I am making freedom choices. And yet, I still have the love of that man and that partner, and so I am humbled and grateful. And don't take it for granted, and don't expect it to always be there. But know that I've done the best I know how to do and will continue to do so. And I make mistakes. So be encouraged. It has been an interesting journey, this trip to Malaysia, just to meet other women who wander and hear their stories and hold them and just hold space with them and go, yeah, I hear you. It is difficult. It is a challenge, but we're up to it because we said yes. We knew there would be days like this that would be difficult, that we would be lonely, that we would not be confident, that we would not be sure of the steps that we take. And I'm just chatting with a sister online who said, I just decided I'm going to go here, I'm going to India, I'm going to do this, I'm like that, and it just all came in one day. And I went, bravo. I love those days when the answers come and you know, yes, it's right. Let's go do it. And then there's days, especially when we're in retrogrades, there's days that are just like, I have no clue what I'm going to do next. I'm just going to sit and wait it out. And that's a good thing. Especially when you know your human design, and I'm encouraging you, please get your human design work done. You can look at Jovian Archives and get it out. Go get the videos online. I can do the charts for you and help you and sort those things out for you. But know who you are. Know how you're built. Understand your system and your design. And once you start flowing in your design, life is a lot easier. And it saves you frustration or bitterness or anger. And the Lord knows we can all save on those things. So find out who you are and understand how you flow best. Also, what's really cool is find meaning in today. Willow, a great teacher of mine and an old friend, said, tomorrow is a lie, and so is yesterday. The past and the future are not determined. The only things that are real are right now. This consciousness, this moment, and may have been you're receiving it in my past. So, did I lie? As Willow would say, of course I lie. That's the truth. But it is Oops, can you see me put my hands in my pants? You can't. Sorry. Just tricking myself. But it is important that we understand our right now and how we feel, the emotions that are this moment. And when we're in a learning space and taking information in, it is an awesome space. I love learning most of all. And being able to share is just, it's like what's that term that when we recycle energy, of what I can give, I can receive. And so information is the power that fuels me, and I love it. And I used to say my first fetish is learning, so I kind of get off on it, especially when I can learn about myself, or what makes us human, what makes us mammals, what makes us tick, what moves us as a species. That's been important to me. Ask for help. That's the other big thing that's important. You have a team with you. They're called your past lives. They're called your ancestors. They're called those angelic realms that are watching. They're called your symbiotic or parasitic beings that are around you constantly. And the frustration for me about being in this body suit, as I say, mine has wings, is that we can't see everything. Humans have only 5 senses, and it's frustrating when you cannot see those things that maybe others can see, that channelers or mediums can see or hear. And I'm one of them. I don't hear, but I am aware, and that is good enough, and that I know they're there. And as I tell them, I can't see you, but you can see me. So hook me up, help me, and give me the guidance I need. Show me. And when I'm in doubt, I call my girlfriends who can see and hear and say, hey, help me to see, help them to help me so that I can move them. And I've also wondered about, there's that biblical reference about the 144,000. I'm like, that number don't make sense. It's a little painful to think about when we're almost near 8 billion human souls on the planet. And whether they're soulless or whatever, I'm not going to debate that. That seems like another mathematical 80-20 rule or something. But what I am aware of is that we are a species that is evolving, and that our ability to expand our awareness and consciousness is happening, and that we can take advantage of that. But we also represent our line of ancestors, that we are carrying their dreams, their visions, their hopes, their consciousness in ours. It's in our DNA. It's part of us. So there's a responsibility and a loving joy to, hey, come on team, we're all in this together. So my responsibility to myself is my responsibility to my ancestors and those that have loved me and loved the hope and the future. And I can look back at the past and go, hey, thank you. You got this far and you carried the seed. Now, I have chosen not to birth anymore, not to bring any karmic lines after me, but to end it with my life and go, what else is there? Can I evolve out of this species or planetary realm or this consciousness and move into another one? Me is hoping so. That's what I'm looking for. I'm like, I want to understand the things I don't know. Not what it is to be human, but what else is there beyond human. And once we get out of these skin suits, what's there? And I've said this often before, we've had consciousness before we were born, and we will have consciousness after we die. And what are you going to do with that? Mm-hmm. Also, what you speak, you believe. Words are magic spell making. When we spell, we are enunciating beliefs. And so sarcasm is dangerous and you're self-sabotaging. So don't use it. You're hurting yourself. Use the words that matter to you. And when you use language like don't, can't, won't, careful what you say. Careful, careful, careful. Use the words because your mind doesn't know the difference between fantasy, sarcasm, and reality. And so what you speak into existence, those are words of action. You start manifesting them. Your thoughts control your actions. So with time, we have some space before those words manifest into reality. But time is just a concept. It's not really a thing, but that's a whole nother subject. But there's a wonderful book about time that when you start looking at time, it's not real. It's like these mirrors. It's all happening at the same time. So be careful what you say and speak to yourself and believe. And finally, speak what you want. Ask for what you want. I love my ex James who said to me, you don't ask, you don't get. So my dad said dream first class and I went, what does that mean? It's taken me a long time to understand that, and that's a consciousness that I've had to do, lift myself up to go, oh, can I not just ask for enough money to get by, but sustainable, thriving amounts, not just, can I just have a little bit of more of that? No, I want an abundance of it. And so when I look at abundance, it's not about wealth per se. It's about having all of my needs met. And one of the things I've realized most is that I did a shortcut. I did the, hey, if I had enough money, what would I do? And I said, well, I'd get a house in the country and live comfortably. And I went, wow, I did that and then realized I didn't have to go through all of the money to get there. All I did was visualize what do I want money to do. It's not the desire for money, it's the desire that money buys. And found I really didn't take as much as I thought it was. It took me seeing the visual and asking for that visual and then taking the actions to get to it. Saying yes when the opportunity came. So that's what I got for you this Sunday. Wandering into your reality of what you want. We're not lost. We are moving through a difficult time on this planet. It is at the best of times and the worst of times, but it's always been that. And it is as we believe, so shall it be. So said, so done. Namaste, y'all.